Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another episode of The Season Keepers, the show where the only two people we recommend keeping for the season is us. My name's Matt, aka Clean Sheet Wipeout.
And my name's James, aka FPL Drug.
You've had a bloody haircut, mate.
It was a long time coming, but yeah, it's a lot shorter.
So I see.
Better than I thought it was going to be.
No, it looks good, man. I mean, obviously, for those just listening to the audio, they don't have a fucking clue what you look like, but if you want to check out the YouTube from last week's video to this week's video, I think there's a considerable difference in James.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some views. We'll get over 10.
Oh, yeah. You never know, mate. They might want to look at your sexy face this week. So,
brilliant.
Right. I think we should get stuck into the games because obviously we're planning to talk about FPL and then we want to do probably a decent segment about Sky Overhaul this week before we jump into Chatman, and then obviously the community questions. So first things first, Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 0.
Yeah, good performance from Villa. Yeah, fantastic, to be honest. Obviously Matt Ryan came in, did a decent performance in fairness to him, seven saves.
He did, yeah.
Obviously cheap, but Leno, I imagine, will be back relatively soon.
Yeah, I expect so. I think is it only a 1-game ban for Leno? The time because it's not serious foul play. So I think it might have just been 1 game.
Punching it out there.
Yeah. Obviously, had Ryan not come in, it could have been probably a lot worse for Arsenal. Ryan, I thought, played particularly well, made some really good saves. But Ollie Watkins, Grealish, brilliant, to be fair. Thought they had a really, really good game. Ollie Watkins obviously got his goal. Took home the 3 bonus points. I think he took home man of the match as well. So
very, very impressed with Watkins, to be honest. He's one that I've not really ever worried about getting in. He's always been that kind of cheap pick that I've ignored.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I need to take notice for not just FPL, but Sky as well.
Yeah, I think it depends on what way the doubles and blanks fall. But yeah, Watkins is one that I'm potentially targeting, maybe to replace Antonio. So we'll have to see. It all depends on fixtures, doesn't it?
Exactly. And I've got Grealish, and that's another reason why I've kind of ignored him.
Yeah, whereas I don't.
What are you doing? You've got to get one of them.
I know, exactly. I think genuinely I'll probably edge towards Watkins because as good as Grealish is, like we all know how good he is as a player, quite often he returns with 2 points. And for a potential man of the match performance, to then come back with 2 points can be quite frustrating. And I think that's the same in both Sky as well. Like rarely does he hit tiers. And obviously with the Sky game, that's what you're looking for. Whereas Watkins occasionally shoots on sight. You know, sometimes he shouldn't, and there are better opportunities, but he's getting goals now.
He is, yeah. I mean, yeah, I've noticed more and more with the Sky team game, I'm looking more at the tiers than I am actually like assists. That's hence the sort of rise in defenders this season. Anyway.
Right, exactly. Watkins has hit 4 goals in the last 5 games. So you can't really turn your nose up at that, can we?
No, not at all.
Whereas Arsenal, I wasn't particularly impressed. I thought Saka had a reasonable game. Another game where we saw Aubameyang start from the bench, which is interesting. Other than that, I don't think there's a lot to talk about Arsenal this week, to be fair.
No, I'm agreed. It wasn't a terrible performance, but I think, Villa deserved the win.
Yeah, agreed.
It's going to dust themselves off and go again.
Right, let's jump into the next game, and a game that I was banking on a Burnley clean sheet, but it never came. Burnley 1, Brighton 1.
Delighted, to be honest. Contemplated bringing in me. I had transfers available. I didn't use them, so now I've got 2 for this week. And it paid off. I could have quite easily been sat here and you talking about how you've got 10 points from Nick Pope. So I think it's a bit unlucky because on another day I would have brought in, like, say, a Pope, but I was quite happy with Martinez, so hence why I didn't. But
it's a move that's cost me points this week as well, because obviously I didn't take a hit. I used my free transfer to bring in Pope for the doubles. Had I not, I would have had Johnston and Meslier, and I would have played Meslier rather than Johnston. And obviously we know he's got 10 points sat on my fucking bench. whereas Pope got, I think it was a two-pointer this week. So that's frustrating. That move, albeit future planning, didn't pay off, and then it ended up costing me 8 points.
I think that's pretty unlucky because normally most games where even Pope concedes, he'll get enough saves to at least get like 3 or 4 points.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's real tough luck, to be
honest.
And
I didn't expect Leeds to keep a clean sheet because I know so many people out there. I've got Dallas, like I've got them in Sky, but loads of people have them in FPL as well. And I don't think I would have played him had I had him in FPL because I wasn't expecting a clean sheet against Palace. And from start to finish, we'll talk about it later, but start to finish, Palace were poor. So that came, and yeah, it's one of those frustrating things. But I think it's been a frustrating week for loads of people with their benches. And obviously we'll get onto that with my bench later. I've seen benches with 30, 40 points on recently. I think 39 is the most I've seen so far.
Wow.
Madness, absolute madness. But
you can tell it was going to be like that, to be honest, with the benches, because we all had headaches. We were talking to each other going, who do I bench? You bench Gundogan, I bench bloody DCL.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse as well. I think this week is another benching headache. And obviously now that Souček's had his red card rescinded, it's another one that we're going to have to fucking look at. So it's a bit of a ball ache. Your cats fucking love you today, don't they, mate?
Yeah, they do.
Keep jumping up. That's right. But yeah, other than that, I think obviously Lewis Dunk, Brighton, got his goal. Ironically, a lot of people were talking about Brighton being, one of the teams to target with their upcoming fixtures. But because they now don't double, people kind of went away from them. And obviously Lewis Dunk being arguably Brighton's best defender, pops up with a goal in the week that maybe people were planning to bring him in, but then decided against it.
Arguably, we should be considering him. Brighton defence are written off until recently. Like the last 3 or 4 performances from Brighton and Sanchez in particular,
yeah,
amazing. So he's always been a goal threat, but if he can add clean sheets to his game as well, then it makes sense to have someone like that in your team.
Oh, massively. Without Sanchez, Brighton could have lost this 3-1. Like, he made 6 saves in the game, and I've been very impressed with him. Like, he's a cheap asset, still not that highly owned. He's only 4.5 million, and 2.5% of the game own him. So nothing. I can't see that rising anytime soon. But in Sky, I think he's going to be one to target. And yeah, we'll talk about that during our overhaul plans later. All right, do we have to talk about this third game? Fuck me. Newcastle 3, Southampton 2.
Rather frustrating, obviously, for us. The last 20 minutes in particular, where Newcastle essentially had 9 men, one because of the red, one because of the injury. We pushed forward, but in fairness to Newcastle, they were resolute at the back and did their job. They just wanted to see out the game. Yeah, it's quite frustrating how we couldn't break them down, though.
We made it easy for them. That's the problem. So easy. It was so obvious what we were trying to do every single time to push down that wing. But obviously, starting the game, we were poor. Mistakes cost us again in the first half. Obviously, McCarthy, I don't know what he's fucking doing for the goal that he concedes there. Obviously, Almiron puts away, plays the pass out, then gets his position in completely wrong. Leaves the corner open entirely for Almiron, and he slots it away. And then obviously the early goal where St. Maximin pinged it in for Willock. Stevens is completely out of position at right back. Leaves Bednarak isolated. He pulls out, doesn't really make a challenge, and then so open.
Good finish from Willock, I have to say. Him, St. Maximin and Wilson might be quite interesting working together. Obviously, Wilson's now a doubt, but good attacking from them the last 2 games. Obviously us and against Everton as well. What I was impressed with was Minamino's finish. Yeah. That was a cracking finish.
I think that's probably, other than obviously Prowse's free kick, I think that's the one shining light that came from this game was the fact that he already looks on the ball. Looks like he wants to prove himself. And in that number 10 role, I think, he could bring a brilliant asset for us. And we're going to need it because we've got players coming back from injury, but we're still short of attacking options. And like it showed in the last 20 minutes, we just couldn't break them down. Whereas we need to find solutions rather than continuously, weirdly trying to play it to Redmond out at right wing to then fail to ping in a ball to 5 players in the Newcastle box. Whereas maybe someone like Minamino with a little bit of magic, because start to break down some defenses in a bit of a different way to our usual. Like, I genuinely feel that when Newcastle went down to 10 men and 9 men, it was easier for them.
It did sort of feel like that to a certain extent. They just got the basics right, just heading it out of the box, clearing it away. It was just, it would just come back in again. Like, to be honest, they're better than us in the air, I think. But yeah, we just lack creativity in the final third. It was just
exactly. We prefer to play a team that come onto us in, like, to bring the game to us. Whereas as soon as they lost the man, I mean, it was a stupid red card from Hendrick, like ridiculous. But as soon as they went down to 10, they had just men behind the ball, and we can't break down teams when we're against 10 men.
No, yeah, I agree. Sort of like a little bit like Leicester in that sense. We sort of need teams to attack us, and we do them on the counter. That's where our game comes in. But yeah, we did look a bit lost, and it was infuriating to watch. Obviously, you're screaming at the TV.
It was heartbreaking to watch, but I just hope our form turns, because that's what four losses in a row now. It's worrying. We do have a reasonable run to come between now and all the way up to game week 32 before our end of season's quite tough. So I'd like to see us at least up there, top 8, top 10 come game week 32, and then I'll be comfortable, because our end of season is Leicester, Liverpool, Fulham, Leeds, West Ham, Man City. Right.
Yeah, exactly. We want to hit that 40 points as soon as possible, just so it doesn't become a thing.
Exactly. Like, it sounds weird to say that, because we were playing so well, come the turn of Christmas, and it's gone downhill.
Oh yeah, people were saying, "Oh, do you think you'd be able to get into Europe?" And we were like, "Oh, steady on."
Well, yeah, rightly so.
Yeah, the wheels are sort of shaky at the moment. I don't think they've come off, but they're definitely shaking.
Yeah. At least we didn't have any VAR controversy in this game this time, did we? So
no, and the other team got red this time, so that was nice.
Exactly. Right, let's jump on then. And a game that you benefited massively from, and I had a captaincy fail. It was Fulham 0, West Ham 0.
Wow, my heart during this game, particularly the second half, I could not take it. Sat on a triple West Ham clean sheet. Bastard. With Fulham firing in attack after attack. Carvalho was lethal. Balls firing in across, just inches past the post. Mitrovic obviously came close as well. Could not take it. But thankfully, the boys, West Ham, saw it home. Got my triple clean sheet.
You fuck.
Which is great. However, Dawson was on for 2 bonus points, and then after the game, obviously it catches up, and he dropped out, which is a bit disappointing. But I can't complain.
No, I was going to say you can't complain about your triple clean sheet. There's obviously a captained Antonio, and then when the team sheets came out, and I saw Fulham I think they had reverted to a back 4 rather than a back 3. I was a little bit concerned looking at that, and then it just didn't really pay off for West Ham. Fulham were dominant, in my opinion. They're by far the better team. They were wasteful. Given Fabianski, only recorded 3 saves, it doesn't feel right given the amount of chances that Fulham had.
Yeah, exactly. I think you were unlucky in this, to be honest, because I was terrified of not owning Antonio. Yeah. And I thought, fair play to him, he's captained him. I would have captained him. But I've got a bit lucky here and got away with it, because he's not got a return. You've captained him, and I don't even own him.
No. And then obviously
a lot of people were with you, I think, on that captaincy on Twitter.
Exactly. And then the other player that I own from West Ham and chose to play this week over a certain Gundogan, which was ridiculous, was Thomas Soucek. And what a fucking ridiculous sending off.
Yeah, well, obviously, it all kind of escalated online. Obviously, rightly so. It was a ridiculous decision. And anyone that's played the game can see what he's trying to do there. He's just literally just trying to move. Like, it's clearly accidental. I don't know how they expect him to move into the box without moving his arms. I don't know.
He's trying to get Mitrovic off of grabbing him. And obviously in pulling his elbow up, yeah, he's hit him. Mitrovic has gone down like a sack of potatoes, which hasn't helped the situation. And I know Mitrovic has then come out and said that, well, it was obvious he didn't mean it and blah, blah. Don't fucking go down then, because you going down has then allowed, and I don't even want to say their names, but Mike Dean and Lee Mason, they've been fucking useless for the last 3-4 weeks. We've been on the wrong end of it, haven't we? And it allows them to go and make that decision. Whereas if Mitrovic doesn't go down and doesn't, start holding his face, then it's not a problem.
Yeah, you have got to question Mitrovic there. I mean, he's a massive Serbian guy.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy. It's not like he's bloody Almiron.
No.
Like it's kind of out of character. I didn't expect him to go down. I thought he'd just maybe take it and then square up to him, but clearly he's just gone the other way and tried to get the red. But it's the end of the game. What they didn't really get anything out of it. So I really don't understand what Mitrovic is playing at.
No, neither do I. And to then come out, obviously, during it and then try and show Mike Dean that as if he was saying, oh, I know he didn't mean it and blah, blah. But you've caused that situation by going down in the first place. And it's made them look at it in as pathetic a decision as it is. And obviously, rightly so. Souček has had his red card rescinded. So that's another decision that they've made, which has been wrong on review. I know that Mike Dean's pulled out of refereeing this weekend because I think his family have had death threats, which is wrong. Like nobody should get that from their professional job. But I think Mike Dean and Lee Mason genuinely either have to have a break or drop down into the Championship or League One for refereeing at the moment, because they can't be seen to be high-profile referees right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've done it before where they've dropped refs down to the Championship. It doesn't happen often, but I think in situations like this where they get consecutive, big, what we perceive to be clear decisions wrong, then there's got to be some sort of action taken on that.
And it's 3 games in a row for the two of them. Either one's been reffing and one's been VAR, the other way around, and it's not right.
What's concerning is like VAR basically backing it up. Like you can understand him making the decision wrong, but then you go and have a look at it on the monitor and then still make the same decision again. It's just a bit concerning. Exactly,
and obviously then it kind of brings the game into disrepute, because then fans and pundits start questioning the game, start doubting, other decisions, start losing faith in it. And for the Premier League to be, the number 1 league in the world, surely the officiating has to stand up to that. And right now it's not.
No, it does feel more like a show, a performance, a drama, especially with obviously Mike Dean. It feels more about the individual than it does the actual rules of the game and the game itself.
Exactly. But I suppose enough on that. We don't want to bring the pod down too much, and we'll jump on to what was an absolutely cracking game. It was Man United 3, Everton 3.
Did not see this game of football coming.
No.
Hence why I benched DCL. I didn't even think he'd return. Never mind a goal and assist. In fairness, the assist was a bit bullshit and the goal was right at the end of the game. So, in my opinion, he blanked.
I knew you'd have an excuse, mate.
Yeah, that's mine.
To be fair, we were speaking about it before we locked in our teams, weren't we? And when you sent me your triple West Ham defence, the only thing I questioned was, oh, well, you're playing a West Ham defender over DCL. I wouldn't do that. But you only lost out on 6 points from it, so it's not too bad. You got the clean sheet that you were expecting. You just didn't expect DCL to then better that.
No, yeah, exactly. I didn't expect him to get 3 bonus, an assist, and a goal. So I'm happy with it, to be honest. It doesn't feel as bad as some other ones where I've benched. Like if West Ham didn't get a clean sheet, then I'd feel stupid. But
yeah, and to be fair, it was Man United errors that allowed Everton to keep getting back into the game. Obviously, De Gea made an error. Maguire was then miles out of line for that free kick, which obviously then allowed DCL to slot home without being offside. Other than that, Man United, I think, deserved to go in, up, and I thought deserved to win the game, other than those mistakes. Cavani's goal was Cavani, in a nutshell. I think he's been brilliant recently, and rightly has obviously then taken Martial's place in that squad at the moment. Pogba obviously went off injured, which is maybe a worry for Man United, but perhaps a positive for Bruno owners. And obviously he scored another wonder goal. We all questioned how Olsen's back in rather than Pickford. Maybe the mistakes aren't there, but Fernandes proved that. And then, smashed it in, didn't he?
Yeah, lovely goal. Watch it all day. To have the awareness to spot him off his line and then execute that is pretty special.
Oh, it was lovely. And then obviously the mighty Scott McTominay, which my dad actually brought in a few weeks back, has continued to bench him and has now missed out on both of his goals in the last 2 weeks. So
I mean, you can understand him benching him, but it is quite funny to see him sat there on his bench.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious, honestly. I keep rubbing it in, and he keeps banging on about, look at your bench. Well, come back when you're less than 100 points behind. So he listens to this as well, so you'll love that. All right, let's move on to Sunday's game, and a game that I was absolutely shitting it when I saw that Harry Kane miraculously starts for Spurs. It was Spurs 2, West Brom 0.
Had mixed feelings about Kane starting this game, because obviously I held Kane and Son for a little bit longer than some people. I think I got rid of Kane maybe 1 week later than everyone else was ditching him, because I had a little bit of, say, faith in Mourinho being a shithouse and maybe playing him. So like playing up the injury, and as you can now see, he has now played, maybe down to the pressure that Mourinho's been under.
That's it.
Yeah, I think that's essentially it. Which is quite frustrating, because obviously a home fixture against West Brom is tasty. Like, if you want Kane for that fixture.
Yeah, I know it's frustrating, because obviously I had Kane, got rid, when he got his injury, and then refused to bring in Son, because the two performances prior to this one, Chelsea and Brighton, Son was incredibly isolated. And I worried about bringing him in, for the captaincy. So I avoided him. I had him captain in Sky, so that was really useful. But as soon as I saw that, I was out on a dog walk, and as soon as I saw that Kane was starting, fuck me. I was like, here we go. Like, they're just going to go mad. And obviously they both returned, which we all had a feeling that they'd return anyway. But thankfully they didn't really go any further. Neither of them got an assist, for instance. So I'll count it. I kind of got away with it, even though they both got 2 bonus and a goal.
I think that makes sense. Like, in your head, you expect more from that fixture against West Brom. This is more your kind of mid-table return you'd expect, like a goal, an assist, whatever. But yeah, West Brom, bottom of the table side, like you expect a little bit more, maybe like 2 goals.
I know. I don't think bringing Sam has helped West Brom at all this season. They still looked poor. They don't seem to suss out how to keep teams out at the moment, and they don't look like scoring to win games. So genuinely, I know Big Sam's got that record of never being relegated, but this is the season that ends.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it would be interesting to see how, in a parallel universe, how they would have got on with Bilic still. I mean, obviously, the last performance was, a draw against Man City?
Exactly.
So, who knows? Maybe they've have six more points right now.
Yeah, and what I didn't understand is Pereira not starting in this game, which, given the form that he's been in, why not?
I don't know. I think that's mad. Maybe he was resigned to losing this game and wanted to save him for other fixtures, keep his fitness up. But
maybe. I mean,
no other reason in my head.
They've got, if they stand a chance of staying up, the next 6 games are crucial, because after Man United this week, they've then got Burnley, Brighton, Newcastle, Crystal Palace. Now, if they're going to stand a chance of, I hope in hell, of staying up, I think you need 9 points from those 4 games.
Well, yeah, they're all in and around them. So if they lose those games, then they're going to be cut away.
Oh, yeah. After that, the run's horrendous. They played genuinely... Every team that they play, I think, is in the top 10 bar us. So doesn't bode well for West Ham supporters. I'm sorry. All right, let's move on to a game that neither of us watched. I think we both wanted to take a bit of a break from football. I was still out, to be fair, at this point, but it was Wolves 0, Leicester 0.
James bloody Justin.
Fucking James Justin.
Say it every week.
I've had enough. Fucking had enough.
He's in my Sky team, which sweetens the pill a little bit. But yeah, what a fucking dick.
Doing my nutting, I tell you. Honestly, if after the FA Cup games this week, obviously we know a bit more about doubles and blanks. I think as soon as we find out any potential Leicester double, James Justin is coming into my team. I don't even care anymore. I've had enough. I'd love to gamble on Pereira and maybe I go there, but he's hit 100 points now and he's 30% owned. So every time he gets one of these ridiculous 9-10 pointers, my rank's dropping.
Yeah, same here. And it's makes you feel stupid for not getting him in sooner. I mean, it's been happening for at least 12 weeks.
Well, yeah, it just compounds that decision that for me to bring in Wesley Fofana, who is injured, third on my bench, and that was a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, at the time he looked good, but yeah, looking back on it, it was a no-brainer to get Justin instead. I don't know if you had the funds for that, but
I did. Yeah, that's the problem. I even had the funds. That's the issue. There's no backing it up. It was a poor decision.
Well, I guess you've owned your decision there, and you can move forward.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't think there's much else to talk about this game. To be fair, obviously Jamie Vardy then came back into the Leicester squad. I think it was off the bench. The fact that he's showing fitness again can only be a positive for Leicester. And yeah, they've got a reasonable run of fixtures. They play Liverpool this week, which, you know, Liverpool are down in the dumps at the moment. That might be a good game for Leicester to jump in on them after Man City have smashed them. And talking about that game, it's next. So Liverpool 1, Man City 4.
What a game. Liverpool very much getting torn to pieces by City. Losing at Anfield again, which is worth noting.
3 times in a row now.
Yeah, that's after that incredible run of not being beaten at Anfield to then lose 3 is mad. So they lost Brighton, City. Who was the other one?
Burnley,
yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
it's not great. I mean, it's a game that took 45 minutes to get going because the first half was dog shit. Like, I really didn't enjoy it as a game of football. And I was so worried that it would be one of those top 6 clashes that failed to live up to expectations. And obviously, they were both kind of pussyfooting a bit around each other, like really tetchy. Liverpool, when they were breaking, would then stop and then turn back to goal. Man City were just all about kind of passing it between the lines, but not really getting in behind. And it took the halftime talk, a little bit of a tweak from Pep and some Liverpool mistakes to get this game going, really, didn't it?
Yeah, no, it did. What was the real shock for me was Alisson, his performance. Those errors aren't something you really see from Alisson, to be honest.
Not at all. I was very surprised. Obviously, poor judgment for both of them to let kind of Man City get those 2 goals. Just killed the game for them. And then obviously City went on, scored a couple more. And it's not what you expect. The frustrating thing for this, and I don't know your view on it, but for me, Salah dived to win that penalty. I know I might be saying that because I've got Diash, but he barely touches him. And no one's talking about the fact that then Salah throws himself to the ground.
It's definitely soft. The contact is minimal. So I own both. So I guess I'm the balanced neutral in this.
If I was a City fan, I'd be annoyed that I lost the clean sheet on that. And
100%. Yeah.
And I guess it more annoys me, like playing Sunday League football. We see that kind of thing every weekend, obviously when we're allowed to play. And it's never given because those kind of pens aren't, refs see that you've barely touched the lad and you're expected that, you know, to get up is to be a hardy challenge before you get these pens. But then to see this kind of challenge screened live to millions and for players to throw themselves to the ground to get a pen, it's just frustrating.
It is. And what seems to be a growing kind of thing is the notion of contact and not the actual weight of the contact. So someone could literally barely touch someone, like literally just skim them. And I'd be like, oh, there's contact. Definite pen. No, it isn't. He's barely fucking touched him.
I know.
Like, that's not enough to make him go down like that. Like that. this contact is just a get out now for the decision to be made. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like what's happened to the judgment in referees? They want to make it too sort of binary, like
Yeah.
literally contact, no contact, over the line, like level. Like it's not like that. Like,
no, it's losing that element, isn't it? And it's just making people question why we enjoy football in the first place if it's going down this route. Frustratingly, I benched Gundogan in this game, which has come back to haunt me big time. Obviously, when he missed that pen, I was fucking jubilant, mate. I was like, oh yes, he's going to match Souček and get 0. I'll be happy with that. And then he came out in the second half and got 2 fucking goals.
yes, smashed it. I mean, I text you after that pen miss. I'm like, I bet you're glad you benched him now.
Yeah.
Then he goes and does that. Exceptional. What value for money? Gutted I don't own him.
Between him and Foden, like Phil Foden was unbelievable.
What a goal. What a goal.
Half. Yeah, stunning. And obviously he got 2 assists and a goal in this game. I just wish we knew that he started, and maybe this second half of the season we might see him get more consistent minutes, because it's been very stop-start, like particularly at the beginning of the season. Obviously, most of us piled into him at the start of the season thinking, right, this is the season for Foden. And he had 3 or 4 games at the beginning of the season where he got good minutes. And then he just went dead for about 10 weeks, like got the odd 18 minutes, 75 minutes, 1 minute. But then ever since then, it's kind of been, again, a little bit inconsistent. So one week he'll play 30 to 50 minutes. The next week he plays 90. I just wish he started every week.
Yeah, I mean, we've said that like back during that spell where he was playing before. Like, it's just you don't know if he's going to play.
No.
If he had that certainty, he'd be in both of our teams.
Exactly. And then comments from Pep after the game, like obviously everybody's raving about Foden's performance and the man of match display. But then Pep comes out and says, yeah, it's all well and good talking about that, but his first half was poor. He wasn't in the right positions. He needs to learn. And I guess when you see it from that perspective, you can maybe understand that Pep doesn't think he's the finished article yet, and maybe wants to try and keep that drive going by not giving him the opportunities all the time. But he's got it in him. And if you just guide him in the right way, he's going to smash teams left, right, and center week in, week out.
Well, I think the best way of developing him is playing him. I understand that he's going to sometimes not be in the right positions and maybe do things wrong, but he's young. He's 20 years old.
Exactly.
Give him the games. I know he's made 100 appearances, which is impressive considering how young he is.
Very.
But yeah, you got to play him. Like, they look so much better with him.
Yeah, and I guess the only worry with City assets is obviously the Champions League's going to then be restarting again soon.
Like, exactly, and he may favour him in the Champions League.
Exactly, because they seem to be running away with this title now. And the closer it gets towards the end of the season, if they've sealed the deal, say, with 4 or 5 games to go, Man City are going to mass rotate.
Oh, certainly. Like, that's a concern for not just this game, but obviously Sky, as we'll come on to it later. But
yeah,
the back end of the season, that's what you got to watch out for. You'll look at the good runs, but then as things get wrapped up, rotation happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's maybe then worth targeting those teams that, are still fighting for something. Right, let's jump on to the second last game, and that was Sheffield United 1, Chelsea 2.
Jorginho, another goal for him.
Yep, got his pen.
Yeah, back on pens, presumably.
Yeah, it seems that way. I think, he's been given the responsibility again since Tuchel's come back in.
Yeah, I mean, because we thought Werner had them, didn't he, for a little bit, but clearly not.
No, obviously Werner got 2 assists in this game. Seems to be picking up a little bit of form under Tuchel. Whether, he's had a word with him behind the scenes, quite possibly, but he just seems a little bit happier. There's something about the way he's playing. He just seems a little bit more sprightly in his step.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps he's been able to motivate him. Obviously, speak German to him and convey something that maybe Lampard couldn't. But he's definitely using him well so far. So be interesting to see how he gets on. I mean, if you're lagging behind, you could take a risk on him.
Yeah. No.
I mean, not many people have him. Chelsea are playing well. It would be worth a punt.
No, exactly. There's no reason why you couldn't potentially take a punt. And obviously, they've still got a decent run of fixtures. And to be fair, all the way through to the end of the season, I think they've got nice little runs that you could potentially target. One thing I think we have to talk about is the fact that Burke probably got the most amusing assist of the season, I think, when Tony Rudiger, with his own goal, no idea what he's doing. He just simply passes it past Mendy into the back of the net.
Yeah, very calm,
Yeah.
just slow pass into the net from Rudiger. Obviously, we bigged him up on the pod as a 4.5 mil pick. My girlfriend brought him in. But yeah, an own goal. So not the week for her because she also owned, she captained Souček. Which was painful for her. Anyway.
Her season's slowly going downhill.
I wouldn't worry about Rudiger, though. I think that's a good pick that will pay off over the next 6 to 8 games.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think looking at the fixtures, I think Chelsea have quite easily got 2 or 3 clean sheets in the next 6. And then I think it's game week 30 is probably, they've got a lovely 5 fixture run of West Brom, Crystal Palace, Brighton, West Ham, Fulham that you could probably target, both attacking and defensively, if that's the way that you want it to go. So, I think it's definitely worth looking at and one to keep an eye on with Chelsea. All right, and let's jump on to the final game, which obviously took place last night, and that was Leeds 2, Crystal Palace 0.
Dallas. I feel like I'm regretting not having him, to be honest. In both games, he is cheap. He is performing attacking returns, obviously, fairly consistently. If you look at it at a longer period, and obviously he got a clean sheet, which I don't think either of us expected.
No, I benched Meslier because I didn't expect Leeds to keep a clean sheet, but from start to finish they were dominant. Obviously, I was quite happy. I got the returns from both Bamford and Rafinha again. Rafinha was exceptional, like man of the match display. He was unbelievable at times. There was a moment where he's run into the corner and then he kind of twists and then back heels it through Gary Cahill's legs, and then Cahill just drags him down because he's got nothing else he can do. Like Rafinha's completely done him. It's those moments of play that you realise how good a player Rafinha could be. And I think even Bamford said at the end, he keeps getting the fantasy football questions now that he's revealed he's got a fantasy team. So he said that he captained himself, and then he was obviously asked about Rafinha. He's like, yeah, I don't own him. But he also then said that he was surprised that bigger top 6 teams haven't come in for him. I don't think that's what Leeds really want him to be saying in interviews.
Did not realise he said that. I knew he said the comment about FPL. Fucking hell. That's a bit of a questionable one to say, especially if I was a little Leeds fan. I'll be a bit worried.
Yeah, they were like, I'm really surprised that bigger teams didn't take a gamble on him. Like, don't start selling him to other teams, Patrick. Come on, like, he's a Leeds player.
Yeah, pick him up, but don't sell him off.
No, exactly. And it was hilarious that they kept dissing the pitch because obviously they've had the pitch replaced, but there's still the issue of it being incredibly difficult to play on because it's really slippy. And you could see that in the first half. And he made the joke that he effectively put rugby studs on, like the longer studs, to try and stay on his feet.
Oh yeah. I don't blame him, but it looked all right. In fairness, I thought it looked okay.
I think it looks visually a really good pitch to play on, but because it's been freshly laid, the grass under you moves. I've played on a freshly laid pitch once, and honestly, it's so hard because the turf hasn't bedded itself in yet, and it just slips beneath your feet. So I can see why he needed extra studs, but I can't imagine the groundsman was too pleased seeing that they were publicly dissing the pitch on Sky Sports.
He's probably like, shut up, Patrick, shut up.
He's probably had a word with him behind the scenes. But no, I thought Leeds were brilliant. Obviously, you've mentioned Dallas. He got 14 points in Sky for me, which was nice, with obviously a captain Bamford. Frustrating, though, because it should have been more. He was a pass away from passing tier 2. Turns out he actually got that pass, and it was just counted late. So obviously Sky had already updated the game, and they've done that a few times this year. That there was a Zuma moment where Zuma didn't hit tiers and actually he had. I think Leno wasn't given a pen save at one point this season as well, when he actually saved it. None of this fake save where, they miss it. He saved the penalty and it wasn't given.
Really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. That's horrific. Imagine if that cost you 50 grand.
Exactly. So I think these points have kind of been raised and they need to be a bit more on the ball, given it is a money game at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah. Right. How did you get on in FPL this week then? I'll let you go first because I had a dog shit week.
Yeah, pretty good. 70 points, which saw a small green arrow of 24k up to 530k. Martinez on 9. The West Ham trio on 6, 6, and 5.
Nice.
Diaz ruining the kind of clean sheets across the board there with just 1 point. Captaincy for Son, that well and truly paid off. 10 doubled to 20. Returns from Salah and Fernandez and Bamford with just 2 and 1 point from Grealish and Wilson.
Not bad at all.
And 12 points on the bench.
Well, yeah. I didn't have such a great week. I managed to scrape 48 points. Saw a game week rank of just over 6 million, which is horrendous. Ooh. Amazingly, I only dropped 75k places, which I'm surprised by. I thought I'd plummet. So I'm only down to 227k now, which I'll take given how bad that week was. So I had Pope with 2, Trent with nothing, Stones with 2, and Cancelo with 2. Then obviously Rafinha with 6, Souček nothing, Salah 7, Fernandez 7. DCL basically saved my week, getting 12. And then Antonio captaincy blank, and then Bamford 6. The harsh thing is the fact that I've then got Meslier with 10 and Gundogan with 13 sat on my bench. So I could have been up there matching your score had I played those two over Souček and Pope. It's frustrating, but like I said, I've seen worse benches, and it was one of those benching headache weeks, wasn't it?
Oh, it really was. I think I was going to be screwed whatever I did. That's what it felt like.
Exactly. But I think this week is the week to hold your transfers until we know more about the blanks and doubles, because we've got the FA Cup games this week. Once they're played out, we'll know who blanks, and we basically know who doubles in 26 and 29. So I'd hold those transfers for now until we know more. And obviously, keep an eye on Ben Crellin, because as soon as those fixtures are kind of done and dusted, he'll have it in his spreadsheet.
Yeah, he's like a computer, is Ben. He'll be ready in about half an hour.
Exactly. It's unbelievable. Right. Let's jump on to Sky, because this is a big week in Sky. It's obviously overhaul week and the final time for you to essentially wildcard before we run towards the end of the season. How are you positioned in Sky at the moment, mate?
So team 1 is 8k and team 2 is 3k. So
it's coming down.
Yeah, they're both coming down. Team 1 has been making a lot of progress. I've said it last week. So yeah, I think they're in a good place to attack the next few weeks after overhaul.
Yeah.
What I'm aiming for, team 1, I think I'm aiming for sort of top 2k, and team 2, I'd say I'm aiming for the top k.
Yeah.
Maybe higher, but I think it gets quite tough in that top 1k.
How many transfers have you got in each, if you don't mind sharing?
No, I don't think I can see anymore, because it will say unlimited unless I go back a week and then it will tell me.
I don't even think it will tell you. I know offhand how many I've got, but
I think I have roughly 14 in both, or 13 in both.
Okay, so you've probably got slightly less than what you want, but given your position, you've probably got room to attack some fixtures, don't you, to try and make up some ground?
Oh, definitely. Like, obviously with overhaul, it gives you a great opportunity to sort of see what you want to do for the next 3 weeks. We've got those fixtures up until sort of the weekend of the 6th and the 7th, I think it is.
Yeah, I think the last confirmed fixture at the moment is that Everton-Southampton game.
Yeah. So I've planned my team ahead with captaincies in mind, having coverage on each of the game days. Obviously, one of them that stands out is the Brighton Crystal Palace game day, because you don't really want Brighton or Crystal Palace players.
Yeah.
So me I mean, I'll mention it now. I'm personally going to have Sanchez in goal. He's been playing well recently, and I feel like I want him as my keeper anyway, so I might as well go that captaincy coverage.
Yeah, you've touched on it there. I think Sanchez is one that is in my mind that I'm debating with myself about, and I think he's going to be heavily owned because I'm pretty sure he's the highest scoring goalkeeper since January. I might be wrong, but I'm sure he's picked up enough points in those runs. And obviously, when Brighton keep a clean sheet, he tends to get save points as well. So he's hitting save tiers. And like you said, we're going to need that Brighton coverage. And then I think it was looking at Ian Parron's kind of spreadsheets on future fixtures because he seems to predict them brilliantly. And it's looking like Brighton might even have more than one single game day in the future. So that Brighton asset could be, ironically, a season keeper. But I think, it's that one position that I'm debating myself. So yeah, at the moment I'm 76th and 43rd, but that 43rd doesn't count because I've got one transfer left in that one. It was my cup team. I think I'm going to have a bit of fun with that team, try and pick one that I think will run, to the end of the season with one transfer needed. The team 76th, I've got 17 transfers left. So I think it's well positioned. Thankfully, I dragged myself back. I dropped down to outside the top 100 at one point this week, but I pulled myself back up to 76th with Dallas and Bamford, thankfully, pulling out the returns. I've looked. I've got Ian Parron's spreadsheet from the Fantasy Football Hub, thankfully, that I've been using all season. It's been exceptional. And looking at it between now and obviously that Everton-Southampton fixture, the teams that have got 4 fixtures over everybody else that have got 3 are Burnley, Everton, Fulham, Leeds, Man City, and Southampton. Obviously, we know that Leeds have got 2 single game days in there. So I think Leeds are probably a team you need at least one player from.
Oh, agreed, definitely. One, it's just a question of if you are just going one, which one is it, Bamford or Dallas? Yeah. Dallas is the cheaper of the two.
Exactly. That game week 24, I think you need the right players in position because you've got 3 single game days there. You've got Wolves Leeds to start it. Then obviously you've got the Brighton Crystal Palace fixture that you mentioned. And then you've got the Leeds Southampton game that ends that week. So yeah, there's 3 single game days we're going to have to cover. And I think a Leeds asset is probably the way to go. You're unlikely to want to gamble on Southampton, given it's just the 1 single, whereas you get the 2 from Leeds there, captaincy-wise. And then, that Brighton game. But here's the question. How many Man City players have you got in your current draft?
Wow. Hold your breath. Current draft, it's just 1, but it's likely to increase.
Wow.
It's just Ruben Dias in my, I'm using my third team at the moment. It's just my draft for both of my other teams because
that's fair.
I'm having to play around with it.
But, you're going to want a lot more.
I'll probably end up on 3. I don't think I'll go overkill it and get 5 or even 7, which I've heard.
But yeah, genuinely, I've got 5.
That's mad.
You say that, but Man City have these fixtures to target, I think, in the next 2, 3, 4 game weeks. They've got more fixtures than most. Obviously, they've got the 4 up to the 1st of March. They've got 4 rather than 3 of most other teams, and they're just the highest scoring players. I think 5 out of the top 6 were Man City players. So for me, I think it's one to target, and then potentially when those fixtures start to die off, you can then move those assets to, find the 2-for-1s and 3-for-1s. But given my position, it's all well and good. I'd love to finish in the top 100. But I think I really have to try and target these next 4 to 5 weeks to gain a bit of speed and then try and make those moves, which is why Man City defensively, I know that they play, I think it's this week, they've got Everton. Well, it's a tricky game on paper, but they could keep a clean sheet. Then they've got Arsenal, and then they play, I believe it to be West Ham. So, 2 out of the 3 tricky games, but this is Man City. They could keep 3 clean sheets. If you've got triple defense to start with, you're talking 30 points a game. You could probably captain one. You're talking 50 points potentially.
Yeah, I mean, with it being Sky, obviously they are getting tiers as well, so it's not the be all and end all if they don't keep a clean sheet. So I think that is worth remembering. I mean, that's why they're so high points wise due to their tiers. They're just hitting it consistently, passing it around the back.
Exactly, and I think it's worth bearing in mind that we've got that single game day of Everton Southampton. I think that could still change on fixtures. I'm pretty sure those fixtures on the Sunday, all of them aren't confirmed for TV slots. So one could move at least, but it's worth keeping in mind. And then obviously we've got the possibility of other fixture rearrangements that could pop up from the Premier League. They've done it recently. And Man City have got a couple of games that they've got to try and pull back on. So we could see another random Man City game slotted in there that they've missed out on. And that's why I want to target them at the moment. If I had to ask you now, are there anybody, maybe name 4 players you think would be nailed and should be nailed in most overhaul drafts?
That's a good question. I'm thinking surely Bamford or Dallas has got to be in there. So one of the two has to be in there based on the captaincy coverage and just the way Leeds are playing at the moment.
Yep.
I'd say got to have Bruno, haven't you? Surely.
Yeah, Bruno. I'll be amazed if Bruno isn't in 100% of top 1K teams.
Yeah, exactly. Due to it would hurt you so much to not have him, so it just makes sense straight away just to have him. Tricky one.
Would you say DS?
Yeah, I'd say DS. He's the most nailed out of the City defence. So straight away, you want a City defender. So he's in my team. He's obviously going to be in your team if you've got 5 City players.
I can confirm he's in it at the moment. Yeah, and he won't be leaving.
Yeah, so Diaz, Bamford, Fernandes. I want to say Antonio, but I don't think he will be that sort of nailed on. It's more of just a
it's
personal preference of mine.
It's a tricky one. It's obviously that Monday the 15th. The 2 games are West Ham, Sheffield United, or Chelsea, Newcastle. I'd love to target Antonio for that game, but I feel I might end up going Chelsea defensively instead.
Well, potentially, I was going to say another pick would be, like Azpilicueta or another Chelsea defender.
Yeah.
But obviously, Chilwell's being occasionally rotated, so I feel like the safer pick would be Azpilicueta.
Yeah, I think the only 2, barring, say Thiago Silva wasn't injured, I would put him 100%. But given he is, it's got to be either Rudiger or Azpilicueta. I wouldn't go near anyone else because we don't know on rotation, like you say.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, if you had to, so for me, I think Diaz, Bruno, Bamford, arguably, although I've seen a lot of people talking about Rafinha is a good cheap option. And again, he picked up man of the match and an assist, matched Bamford because of that last night. So that was another decent return for him. And he's looking sharp. But another 2 names that I think I'd love to go without them, but I don't think I can, is Salah and Kane.
Okay, I've got Kane in my draft at the moment, but I don't have Salah.
Yeah, it's going to take a brave man to go without him, and it hurt me not owning him. Yeah, they played Leicester to start with, and then obviously they've got that Everton game, and then after that they've got Sheffield United away. But I just worry about his ownership post-overhaul, and I don't want to get caught again by not owning the right player at the right time. And as much as I want to attack, to try and, win some money and all that stuff, to get a top 100 finish would be amazing as a newbie. So I don't want to fuck myself over straight away. So I might end up going Salah.
I obviously completely understand why. He's probably one of the most explosive players in the game. I think if you think of who's most capable of getting a hat-trick, you'd probably say 2 names, Salah and Kane, like we just said. And
exactly.
then that's what 20 points, double to 40. Like you're fucked.
And then, what are your thoughts on Kevin De Bruyne? Obviously, out injured at the moment. Are you going to hold any funds to bring him back in, or are you not going to worry about that for now?
I'm not worrying about it because I've got 6 million in the bank as it stands with the draft I'm playing with.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
I'll be able to bring him in if I want to, but I'm not actually that worried about bringing him in. I think his tiers started to drop off a little bit when he was sort of played out of position.
Yeah, exactly that. I've heard a lot of people who have played this game for a long time say that De Bruyne hasn't been the asset that they want him to be this season in terms of Sky because he's not hitting those tiers.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes him worth his price. Without that, then I think there's better options out there who are delivering that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like, it's funny that you say you've got 6 million in the bank. My current draft, albeit this will change, is exactly 100 million.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That's normally what I do. I feel like I have to spend every penny.
Yeah, and that wasn't even thinking about like spending every penny. It was just that whole jumping on Man City. So for me, at the moment I've got 5 Man City, 1 Brighton, 1 Chelsea, 1 Man United, 1 Liverpool, 1 Tottenham, 1 Leeds. Is where I sit. But between now and the end of the week, it's inevitable that that's going to change because we'll know more about fixtures. And
yeah,
I'm not 100%, but I just wanted to see what I could get as a quick draft before the pod.
I've just realised I've not doubled up on anyone.
Oh, there you go.
So Brighton, Chelsea, Leeds, Man City, West Ham, Tottenham, Villa, Man United. Oh, okay, there we go. Tottenham. I've got Kane and Højbjerg.
Nice. And
Højbjerg has hit tiers the last 7 games in a row.
Yes, I know. Højbjerg is a good option if you were looking for that cheap midfield asset that, you know.
Well, I've got so much bloody money.
Well, yeah, exactly. And even Dallas, like, reluctantly, I haven't got him in my current draft, and he's a player that has been exceptional. And he's so cheap, like, it's exactly what you want for a 6-point-something million defender.
Yeah.
Well, just whilst we're on Sky, before we move on to Champman and then the questions, just want to note that we've obviously set up a Season Keepers third teams league. So anybody out there that wants to, you know, either learn the game with the option of making this new team at this overhaul point, or is targeting Manager of the Month awards, which I think I might try and give a go with a third team. We've made a third teams league. So if you're starting from scratch this week, join it. And the pin is 8520508. We've obviously tweeted it, and I'll tweet about it again later in the week, but that's the pin. We've already got 25 members that have joined up, and we only tweeted it this morning. So hopefully that can continue to grow, but it'd be great just to have an active community in there, really.
Oh, certainly. We all had nerves to repeat the number when you said it then, you know, like a charity appeal.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. And that number is again
812.
Right. Well, let's jump on to Chapman. Obviously, we've not had a game week since we last podded because we only podded on Friday there. But we've got a new week this Thursday, new set of fixtures. And any thoughts on what you might be doing this week?
Yeah, so my thoughts were quite clear even before the sim data came out, which was a -4 to get Shearer out for Viduka.
Yep.
And to do that, I've got no money in the bank, so I have to downgrade someone. So I've picked on Ashley Cole, and I'm going to downgrade him to a 5 mil defender, probably Cooper.
Okay, yeah. Good shout.
He's currently the best performing defender at that price point. Yeah, I think he's 1 yellow away from suspension, but I'm not too concerned about that.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I've got Lauren in there at the moment. There's obviously 1 yellow from suspension. Yeah, talking of that sim data, obviously there's a few teams to target this week, and I've seen some people are playing the free hit. I considered it, but I'm still reluctant, given it's not double game weeks or blanks, that I'm just going to hold off. I think I'm okay this week. But yeah, obviously Blackburn, people are going to target because I think they performed really well against Derby this week. Chelsea are almost locked in for a clean sheet, as are Leeds. I think Ian Hart, if he starts, could be exceptional this week, which scares me, but I don't know how many people have been, you know, waned off of him, given he starts one, drop for one, starts one, drop for one. Liverpool look unbelievable, both attacking. I think, yeah, if you jump on, say, Owen, the right one, nailed for a goal probably. And Newcastle awful away from home against Liverpool with the long ball tactic. Don't look like scoring at all. So Hippier, yeah, he's suspended from next week. Probably locked for a clean sheet this week.
Oh, definitely. I mean, looking at the sim data, it's like more about two teams to avoid, and that's Newcastle and Villa.
Yeah.
Villa, they're not even trying to attack. Men behind the ball, defensive,
Exactly.
everything you don't want, basically.
Exactly. So I think that the moves I'm making, I mean, I was so tempted to make a -8 this week. I thought, fuck it, just going to go crazy because of the news that obviously Robbie Keane misses the next 3 weeks. So I was tempted to take a -8 of losing Shearer, Christie, and Stephen Hughes and bringing in Viduka, De Boer, and Smith. I'm just not sure whether the extra -4 is worth taking it out for Christie to Smith. I'd need to weigh that up in my head, and I might even throw the question out there in the Champman group and see what people think. But if not, it's definitely going to be Shearer to Viduka because I've got the money anyway. And I will probably take out Hughes and bring in De Boer and then bench Christie. So go 4-4-2 this week. But Sunderland, I think, one to be on, which we've both got triple, don't we?
Yeah, both. I'm not sure whether I want to play all three. I'm contemplating benching one, but I am reluctant to do that. Because I don't think Everton will score, but if they do, I'm a little bit screwed.
Yeah, I guess it's risk and reward, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Issa would be the one I'd bench, like I always play Tone.
Captaincy wise, obviously we'll both have Van Nistelrooy and Viduka this week. Who are you edging towards?
Viduka.
Yeah, same. I think I might go against Van Nistelrooy.
Yeah, again, second week in a row.
Exactly, it's fun.
It is fun.
Obviously, where Leeds are at home, Viduka's potentially more likely to get bonus points, whereas I think it was touched on previously by Craig Kemp that strikers away from home tend to struggle hitting those bonus points. So, yeah, Van Nistelrooy could score, but he might not hit BPS. And that's kind of what you're looking for to boost those captaincy points. And that's why I'm going to go Viduka.
Same for me. Same reasons. Just look stronger in the data. I feel more confident in him, and I'm bringing him in for a -4, so might as well just captain him.
Yeah, exactly. Now, thoroughly looking forward to Thursday, and no doubt we'll see a lot of you on the stream there. Right, we've got a couple of questions in that I wanted to pull up in particular. The first question is in from FPL Dempsey. It's a Sky question. So with single day game day fixtures scheduled, do we go Saints attack, midfield, or defence? So I think he's obviously focusing on that Everton Southampton fixture.
It's a tough question.
Yeah,
I'm kind of inclined to go with none of them. But if you are potentially Vestergaard or James Ward-Prowse or maybe the defence or midfield, I wouldn't really go for the attack.
Yeah, Prowse's done well for me in my first team for the last couple of weeks. Obviously, getting that goal gave me, I think it was 11 points this week, which was nice. But yeah, I'd say probably Vestergaard defensively. Now that he's back, he's a man mountain when he plays well. But for that Everton Southampton game, genuinely, I'd probably target DCL. To be fair, I don't think I'd go for Southampton. I'd go Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, agreed. DCL. I mean, I've currently got King in my side. Obviously, I'm going to wait to see.
Interesting. I wouldn't go there yet.
You wouldn't?
No.
I reckon he's going to play, but he came off the bench. I reckon he'll start the next game.
I don't think. Honestly, I think it's far too big a risk right now.
I reckon he's starting. I mean, we won't get team news, will he? Is it? It's not the first game, so.
I wouldn't advise going it.
It's the third team. Fuck it.
If it's your third team, fair, but don't do it in your main team.
Yeah, no, it's not my other team. It's third team.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Now, because you said that.
So, second question is in from Talon Nadeem, who is absolutely smashing it in Sky. I think he's top of the Sky Beginners League that I'm in at the moment, so he's doing very well. Question on Vestergaard. Do you think his minutes will be managed initially, given that he's just returned from a lengthy spell away? Or do you think he's all fit and healthy to play every week?
I think the latter. I think he's going to play. We need him primarily.
Exactly that.
And yeah, he's too important to us to not play him, I think. I'm sure we've got quite a good medical team. I don't think we rush players back. So I think he is ready.
No,
he'll feature. in every game, I think.
I'd be surprised if he starts against Wolves, this obviously for the FA Cup.
Oh, no.
But,
Surely.
if he doesn't start in that, then he's locked for the weekend, 100%. And yeah, like you said, he's too important. We don't look the same defensively with Stevens and Bednarak as the two centre-back pairing. And obviously, Kyle Walker-Peters is now fit again. I think that was announced today. So I think it's only going to boost us defensively. So Vestergaard, yeah, if you want him in, he's probably the one to target.
Definitely. I mean, I know it seems a bit stupid to compare him to Van Dijk, but he instills a calm on the defence that was similar to Van Dijk.
Yeah.
And he's also capable of spraying a pass right across the pitch. I mean, sometimes he does it a little bit too often, but
yeah, exactly.
he's so important to us, and he's been excellent this season. So we really.
Who would have thought we would have been bigging him up this time last season?
Yeah. If we watch this, we'd be like, "What the fuck are you on about?"
He's
fucking terrible.
Exactly. Right. Well, I think we've gone on long enough. So hopefully it's been an enjoyable listen for everybody. And that Sky content and obviously the chat about Champman there has been really useful. Keep an eye, obviously, on those FA Cup results this week because they're going to be incredibly important in planning the doubles and blanks. And obviously we can talk about that a little bit more next Tuesday once we've got them confirmed. So it's been great talking to you, James. And it's a bye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Cheers, folks.